Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Monday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about this morning. Right now, I'm downloading a video that is about just about my daily workout, a part of my daily workout, one of my daily workouts. And I had recorded that yesterday, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do for a video today, Monday, President's Day. And I'm still not sure. Sometimes I do a video and I'm not sure if I'll download it or not. I'll do the video and then I'll kind of think it over and maybe I'll download it. Maybe I won't. Most times I end up downloading it. Now I tell myself, well, I could delete it if I change my mind, I could delete it quick if a lot of good that'll do. But anyway, this is a very personal video. It's about a phone call or several phone calls I got last night, Sunday night. And it's got to do with my parents, well, my mother and my stepfather. And I was hesitant to do this video because it's very personal. And I thought about it. I don't think my parents would mind. And I think a lot of people my age are probably going through similar situations. And in about 20 years, this is probably, if I God willing, I make it that long, it will probably be me, and I'll probably be faced with the same issues. So all day yesterday, we got a huge snow and basically a big ice storm. We had about 6 inches of snow and then freezing rain all day long yesterday. And there's a good inch of ice on the trees, on the power lines. There was about 25,000 people in Connecticut without power last night. There's still, I believe, about 15 to 18,000 people in Connecticut without power. And because I get up so early to do this video, I usually go into my bedroom and I start reading early, like after supper. And it was that time of night. It was about 7 or 8 o'clock last night. And I'm here by myself. I live alone. And my parents live about 5 miles away, not very far away. And they live. It's a higher altitude. It's uphill to their place. So it's usually a little colder where they live. And I got a call from my mother at about 7 or 8 o'clock last night. And I was surprised because today's her birthday, and I thought it had something to do with that. So I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then I realized that it was she. She doesn't usually call me that late at night, and or that time of night, and there was trouble. They were without power. The ice cut the power to their place, and my mom she's turning. Well, today is her birthday. She's turning 81 years old today. And she's still very, she to me, she's like a 60. She's almost like my age. She's very fit and cognizant, but she's not very, my parents aren't very very good at about social media or phones. They don't have any Facebook account. They don't do computers. My mother has a cell phone, but she just keeps it for emergencies. And I've been trying to get her to use it. I text her every single morning, just to say good morning to her. And it feels good after being in recovery for the last 18 years, reestablishing a relationship with my family. So I text my mother every morning. Most mornings she doesn't text me back. It's just for me to say hello to her. But it's getting her used to texting and using a cell phone. And they still have a landline. So I got a call yesterday that they were without power. Their power they'd lost power. They lost their phone. They had no heat. Okay, it was about 8 o'clock at night, and the temperature had already gone down to about 64 degrees in their house. It was getting cold, and they had no idea when the power was going to go back on. So, like I said, the roads were terrible last night. So right away, I started to worry about this situation. So I asked her, "Do you want me to come on? Do you want me to come over?" The problem was, she couldn't call. She wanted to call the electric company and tell them they were without power, to notify them. They were waiting for the power to come back on, and they were concerned that the electric company didn't even know that they were without power. So they wanted to call the electric company and at least let them know we need power. We're without power. We're senior citizens and we're without power. and she has a hard time making a phone call. My number and family numbers I programmed into her cell phone, so she just hits a button and it dials the phone. But she was having a hard time. She finding the keypad and then hitting the little green phone button. So I was trying to explain it to her. I said, when you hang up with me, hit the red button to hang up with me, and then dial the number, and then hit the green phone, and we'll dial the phone. And she accidentally hung up on me when I told her to hit the red phone button, and she couldn't get through. She couldn't. I'm not really sure. I haven't been face to face with her to talk to her yet today, and so I don't know exactly why. But I'm going to program the more important phone numbers into her phone, so this won't happen again. So I called her back, and she couldn't get a hold of. She still couldn't figure out how to call the electric company. So I called the electric company for them. They gave me all their account information and everything, and I called up, and it was an automated system. The automated system said that a lot of people were without power. They had extra power teams out working on it, and it's going to be on as soon as they can. And so it really wasn't any good. So I called back my mother, and I talked to her, and I told her, do you think, are your cars cleaned off? Every time it snows like this, I tell her, they were postal employees for 2 decades. They retired, and they're very active, and they like doing things themselves. So every time it snows, I tell them, if you need any help shoveling or cleaning off your cars, just call me. I'll be right there in 10 minutes. But they never do. So last night I asked them, I said, is your car clean? Would you be able to drive it? Could you make it here? So I said, you're more than welcome. Please come on over. I said, I gave them the passes. This is a gated community that I live in, so I gave her the passcode to the gate to get in, and how to get into the building, the passcode to get into the building. It's a very secure building. I told her, I'll leave my door unlocked in my apartment. I'll leave all the lights on in case I do fall asleep. I didn't fall asleep. I only got about 3 hours sleep last night because I stayed awake all night watching to see if her electric was going to go back on. I kept going back to the CLNP Connecticut Light Power website to see if Terryville, where she lives, her power was restored. But it worried me. It really worried me. My 81-year-old mother and stepfather, and it went down to 25 degrees last night here in Connecticut. So I was very concerned. It was within 1 hour it had already dropped about 8 degrees. So by this morning I was very concerned what the temperature was going to be inside their home. And these are things, I guess, that we start to face as we get older. And the thing I think about too is this, God willing, this is probably going to be me in about 20 years. Technology is going to continue to move forward. Now I'm going to continue to fall behind more than likely. I have already said in videos, I'm not a big fan of change. I do not like change. Change makes me very anxious, gives me anxiety. If anything changes, now that I'm in recovery, everything is going so good in my life, and I'm so happy. I fear change. I like things just the way they are. I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with my family. So I could see myself falling behind in technology. So I haven't talked to my mother to wish her a happy birthday today yet. But I checked the website just about a half hour ago, and there was 30% of her town was without power last night, and she was one of those 30%. And this morning, there's only 1 or 2% of the town that's without power. So I'm fairly confident that their power is back on, and they never showed up here. So, and then I was concerned about them driving over because the roads were all ice and the sidewalks are all ice. And, like I said, at 80 years old, I'm very worried about my parents falling on the ground in the ice. And then I live in the city, and they have to park outside the community and walk in, and I'm worried about their safety. So there's a lot of things that concerned me yesterday. But you know what? I'm I'm glad. I'm glad that I have them, and I'm glad that I have these concerns. I'm glad that I'm clean and sober, and that I'm able to try to pay back everything that they gave to me, everything they helped me with, everything they stood by me with over those 2 decades that I was a drug addict. So I'm glad. I'll never be able to pay them back for everything they did for me and how they stood by me for all those years. Every year I got older. When she said, my mom used to say, when you turn 20, if you're still using, if you're still, I'm going to disown you. Then I turned 30. If you turn 30 and you're still using, Daryl, I'm going to disown you no more. And I was still using. I got to be 40 years old and I was still using heroin, crack cocaine, everything. And she still stood by me. And I finally got clean and sober at 40 years old. I've been clean and sober now for over 18 and a half years. And I'm glad I'm able to pay this back to my parents. If any of you can relate to this, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Do you have the same fears, the same concerns about your parents getting older, about yourself getting older? Have a good Monday. Have a good President's Day.